Chris Mackowski for Emerging Civil War here at the Spotsylvania battlefield. It's May 18th, 2019, 155 years ago today. Ulysses S. Grant tried to launch a major attack across this field behind me. It's one of the most underappreciated and understudied aspects of the entire Spotsylvania campaign. If I swing my camera over here, you'll actually see there is a tour stop on the park tour here that's got a little wayside that talks about the May 18th assault. But for the most part, people tend to drive on by and forget about what happened here. But the scale and scope of this assault was equal in size as the attacks on May 12th that came right across this very same ground. The mule shoe is now behind me. If I swing back 180 degrees, the Confederate line is off in those trees, and so the Federals were going to cross the old mule shoe and then assault what's now known as Lee's last line off in those trees. Originally, Grant had hoped to make an assault along the Mackowski Road. He's been extending, remember, over the past few days, he's been extending his line to the south and east. He'd crossed and captured the Fredericksburg Road. He'd got down to the Massaponax Church Road and wanted to assault there, but a reconnaissance force by the 6th Corps discovered that it was a little too strong. What Grant's going to decide to do then, since he realizes he can't get at Lee around Lee's right flank, is he's going to shift his 6th Corps back up in this direction to join up with the 2nd Corps, his favorite hammer in the whole army, and he's going to try to assault against this ground. The 5th Corps, meanwhile, is going to dig in, cross the Fredericksburg Road and down toward Massaponax Church Road to try to hold that position by themselves while this assault is going on. To help alleviate the pressure and to make sure that Confederates don't shift reinforcements, Ambrose Burnside's 9th Corps is going to assault against the area known as Heath Salient. That's going to be off in that direction. So this assault's supposed to start on the morning of the 17th at dawn. Grant's going to shift his men into position, but remember, it had been raining for 5 days, and although the sun finally came out on the 16th, the roads aren't entirely dried out by the time they make this move, and so not all of his forces are going to get into line. Winfield Scott Hancock, in charge of this assault, is going to come with 2 of his divisions. He's going to have Francis Barlow, and he's going to have John Gibbon's division push forward. He's going to hold Francis Belberny in reserve, but he's also then supposed to have 3 divisions from the 6th Corps. Only one of them, Thomas Neal's division, is able to get into line. The rest are going to be kind of stuck in the mud, and so it's going to be an understrength assault overall. They're going to try to push down. O'Neill's division is going to come down the old west face of the mule shoe. That's behind me. Hancock's men are going to come across the old McCool farm. They're going to try to get down to this area, push across that field, but by the time they get here, they realize that they're going up against fortifications that are so strong that the Confederates pin them down in the field out here. Armistead Long's Confederate artillery is going to bring 29 pieces of artillery to bear on this assault. Federals are going to try to respond. It's going to be the largest artillery duel since Gettysburg, but Federals are not going to be able to budge. Federals will get as close to the Confederate line as this former Confederate reserve line. It was originally occupied by John Brown Gordon on the 12th of May before he was sent in as reinforcements in the mule shoe. Federals are going to reverse these works and hunker down behind them to try to seek shelter from that powerful Confederate artillery barrage. Chris White and I have written about this assault for Civil War Times. We've got some stuff in one of our books about it. We call it Engineering Over Infantry, because the Confederates who are in the woods behind me have had nothing to do for the last 5 days but rest and fortified. It's Richard Ewell's 2nd Corps, some of the most grizzled, hardened veterans of the Army of the Confederacy. And so they really know what they're doing, and they dig in, and they have such a strong position. It's literally going to be the strongest Confederate position thus far in the East, the strongest fortifications they have yet built. And so Hancock's men are hardly going to be able to get within rifle range before they get pinned down. This assault is not going to last 22 hours like it did at the mule shoe, but instead, by 10 o'clock in the morning, Grant's going to call things off. One Union soldier, so disgusted, said that we assaulted, we threw some men in, men got killed, and then we withdrew, and that's all there was to it. But it's actually just sort of a miserable setback for Grant's men, making it even worse as men have attacked across this field. Many of the bodies that were buried in shallowed graves on May 13th have washed up in the rain. And so the stench and the sight of the battlefield is absolutely gruesome. Men fall out of line from nausea as they're making the assault because it smells and looks so bad. So that just adds to the discouragement. Meanwhile, off in that direction, Burnside's assaults against Heath Salient, led by Crittenden and Potter's divisions, they're repulsed, and so Lee's going to be able to hold on. Grant calls the whole thing off, and that's when he's going to realize he's just not going to be able to get at Lee at Spotsylvania Courthouse. So he's going to start to put plans in motion to pull out. He's got the Fredericksburg Road and the Massaponax Church Road. Both of them are going to give him ways to get out of here. He's going to focus his attention on the Massaponax Church Road because that's going to give him the inside track to Richmond. Remember, there will be no turning back. We'll pick up that story tomorrow because Robert E. Lee is going to have a little something to say about it. I'm Chris Mackowski for Emerging Civil War.